So that's it for topic 3.
Yep.
Move on to topic 4.
Andrew, take it away.
All right, so this isn't necessarily K-pop related to some degree. Well, it kind of is because they have a lot of Korean artists and K-pop artists actually that they've worked with. I just wanted to do. I'll call this topic the rise of 88Rising. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about them just really quick, just because I feel like they're as important, or just like the rise of popularity of K-pop and just like Asian culture and Asian music is just they're interwovenly tied with 88 Rising's rise in popularity, just from a different aspect where it's mostly just hip hop. So if you're living under a rock and aren't familiar with what 88 Rising is or who's under 88 Rising, 88 Rising is I can't just call them a label because they're much more than just a label, to be completely honest with you. They're like it's like this multimedia, like collective marketing company / music label sort of thing that was started by a guy named Sean Miyashiro, who I believe he was like a director or something at Vice before starting or leaving or just starting up 88 Rising. So basically, just like the whole point of it was just to sort of highlight or to help promote Asian and Asian American artists that either needed help like getting like gigs or getting like concerts or getting exposure here in America, because Sean's definitely the brains and the genius behind why 88 Rising has become so successful, just because I feel like his marketing has just been great at it. So like it started off really small back in the day. Like he actually started off with some people we were familiar with, like Dumbfounded or Occasion, who's actually signed to the Black label now, and he used to work with Brian Puspos, who's mostly famous in like the Asian dance community, that sort of thing. So it was really like humble beginnings. Like there's like a few documentaries or just like YouTube features about the start of 88 Rising, but I'd say like where it really started to just maybe make noise or make waves is when Keith Ape dropped Itchy Ma.
Yep, that's the first time I ever heard of them.
Yeah, Sean was the one that helped facilitate the remix with Dumbfounded and like
Waka Flocka Flame.
Yeah, Waka Flocka and like a bunch of other people. Yeah, so that was their first real big move in the hip hop space. And again, it was sort of, if you're thinking back to like when Itchy Ma drops, you didn't really have like the concept of like an Asian rapper that wasn't doing it as like because most of the time, like most people, like whenever you see like an Asian dude rapping, it was kind of like a joke. Or like people like, oh, this is like a parody or something like that. They wouldn't it wouldn't really be taken as seriously as it is like nowadays, honestly. And I feel like 88 Rising just did a huge they did a lot of work in sort of bringing that to the forefront.
Well, I think that's the main plus side to 88 Rising, is that they're like sort of, I guess, a big force as far as representing Asian people in the like music industry and making them be taken, I guess, more seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Because again, the ones who've been popular in the past are usually comedians and stuff like that, or like outside of them, the only ones who really did made it big was Far East Movement. So yeah, and they're even starting their own label, which is pretty similar to 88 Rising, which is Transparency.
Yeah, Transparent Agency. And I mean, Dumbfounded left them and left or is on his own doing stuff with his label. I believe it's just called Born Citizen, and he does stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's still through Transparent Agency though.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff to like independently, but it's sort of a rising tide lifts all boats situation where a lot of just like independent Asian American sort of labels were able to pop up once all of this happened. But I'd say the real first big hit was when Dat Stick dropped by the artist formerly known as Rich Chiga, now known as Rich Brian. And I feel like that was a watershed moment, I believe, when it came to sort of Asian hip hop artists, because everyone's like, wow, this isn't like everyone thought it was a meme at first, but everyone
it kind of was, to be honest, because he's wearing like the pink polo, he's wearing a fanny pack, and he's like this skinny Asian kid. Like I think he was literally like 16.
Yeah, he was literally 16.
He was releasing like the most gangster rap ever.
Yeah, he he drops the N-word, which he omits now from his whenever he performs that stick. But
Yeah.
it's just like I guess it's just like a perfect wave situation where I feel like again, it's another thing where it's intertwined with the rise of K-pop, where there's like people were sort of starting to take Asian artists more seriously, whereas for as much as Psy helped sort of put Asian like music and K-pop on the map, it was almost an expectation. It's like, oh, you're a rapper, oh, so you must all Asian music must sound like Psy or whatever. That's sort of preconceived notion. Whereas, I feel like Death Stick is like a huge watershed moment where like everyone's like, oh man, he can seriously rap. Like he's no joke, basically.
Yeah, I think like usually I don't like talking about race or anything like that because I feel like typically when it's brought up, I think it's pretty irrelevant. But I think in the American like entertainment industry, I think Asians do have kind of an identity problem where not with themselves, but rather the public, like they perceive them it must be a funny guy, or like in the past, like on American Idol, there's that goofy guy like Asian guy who was what was his name?
What was his name?
He was really bad, but he was super famous.
Yeah,
like just that's how like people were viewing them, like,
or usually
they gotta prove themselves.
Yeah, they're usually just typecasted like, oh, you're an Asian person, so you must be like a really good like singer, and you must go on like American Idol and do like Broadway shit or whatever. Whereas
or you must be like a child prodigy who plays the piano wicked.
Like it was really I'd say just like the it wasn't even just like the popularity in the music. I feel like that 88Rising sort of helped break sort of notion. It's just like the fact that like Asians can do hip hop and they can do it really good. It's just like you can. It just sort of breaks the sort of stereotype that most people have about Asian people when it comes to like what they can actually do music wise. And and again, it's something that I feel like was intertwined so effortlessly with K-pop, whereas like K-pop it to some degree with the rise of groups like BTS and EXO, where everyone's like, oh wow, they could do all this rap stuff like pretty good, like really good. Like again, you have a lot of like hardcore hip hop fans that are like, damn, BTS puts out some really like hype shit. Like again, it's so funny to see all these people that are just sort of surprised to see this type of music coming out of Asia, when I feel like it's been around for a while, because like Dumbfounded was making music back in like 2009, basically. Like he's been like he preceded like the sort of rise of like K-pop to some degree even. So it's pretty cool. So I guess I'll just kind of go into just like some of the artists that are on the label, just like sort of like a small overview. So we've mentioned Keith Ape, and we've also mentioned Rich Brian, but they've also signed the Higher Brothers out of China. They're like a Chinese-based hip hop collective that they're definitely the most they were the most popular when I went to the concert in New York City.
They were the most popular at the 88Rising concert.
Because there was a lot of Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese. There's a huge Chinese population.
So honestly, I would have guessed that either Joji or Rich Brian would have been. Yeah,
they were pretty popular too. But I was surprised at just how much how many people were there specifically for Higher Brothers. So. Like I said, Joji, formerly known as the YouTuber Filthy Frank, he sort of made a transition away from comedy YouTube and sort of started to do more serious music, and he partnered up with 88Rising to release it. So I've enjoyed most of his music.
Speaking of identity issues, like he sort of had a like, you could see it in his YouTube channel. Like he was making stuff as Pink Guy, but it's still sort of comedic and funny. Whereas like you could see he really was interested in making music and stuff like that. Yeah. But apparently he hesitated to make stuff under Joji because he thought people wouldn't take him seriously, which was why he actually abandoned his YouTube channel to just make music full time, because he wants to make serious stuff and have people take it seriously and see it as art, not just a joke kind of thing.
He had an entire mini album or just like an EP called Chloe Burbank that somehow got deleted off, or like you can't find it on the internet basically, outside of like illegal like random stuff, where he had the whole album up, and he just took it down, I guess, just because most people were only thinking of him as like Filthy Frank, and it's like, oh, what is this? And that's actually, he had a health condition related to that, honestly. Like he has like sort of like panic, or like he has induced seizures about related to that, where he was just sort of like stressing out about like people can't see him beyond the Filthy Frank character, and it was just ruining his life. So it's just he seems so much happier now just performing his own music, and like doing Filthy Frankie wouldn't have been sustainable for him, honestly, because it was ruining his health. So I'm really happy that he found like his happy place in this type of music, and he's really popular still, like even doing like music under the Joji moniker. So
yep. At first I wasn't totally into his music, but I've honestly come around to it because it's so alternative and like
he's really into like the lo-fi sort of thing.
Like I didn't really know what to make of it, but his stuff has definitely been growing on me lately. So yeah, I like his stuff.
We also have August 8 from LA. He's the only non-Asian one, but he's actually a pretty good rapper and singer too. So I love when he shows up on tracks. And then there's Nikki, who's an amazing female singer from Indonesia. She's probably she's actually my favorite, like off of 88Rising, to be completely honest. So her voice is just incredible. Probably one of my favorite non-K-pop female vocalists I've heard in years. And there's other artists that have sort of like intermittently worked with 88Rising. To some degree, like Sifika has a video on there. They've worked with Yeji, who's released music on their channel, and she's like started doing her own thing now. Hyako has like a cover on the 88Rising channel. So they do a really good job of sort of.
It was the Chet Faker cover.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I love that. That's
fantastic. That's an incredible cover. So they do a really good job of just like scouring like all parts of Asia and looking for artists that either need better representation or wouldn't normally have the means to sort of put themselves out there. And their tours do really well. They put on an entire 88Rising, like they put like the Head in the Clouds, like they had an entire music festival in LA where they had like Zion T and like Ko, who's like a big Japanese rapper. Like they're able to pull these like big artists from Asia and allow them and have them promote in America so much easier. So yeah, they're almost like, it's a weird thing where they're their own label, but they're almost like an intermediary, or they help artists that want to promote in America that wouldn't normally have the access or means to, just because whether it be it's a logistical nightmare just promoting in another country, just in general. And so they've definitely made it a lot easier for a lot of these artists to find an audience over here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like I definitely appreciate what they're doing too, because like, as somebody who's not an Asian American, however, somebody who does listen to Asian music often, I like what they're doing because I guess it's not that I need it,
but
you're not an Asian American.
I said often's an understatement. You listen to Asian music often?
Well, yeah,
exclusively, basically.
Yes, but as somebody who listens to Asian music almost exclusively, it's not that I need it. I just need, or I just like that they're sort of, I guess, bringing credibility to the artists that, you know, I try to, I guess, give my seal of approval to. However, a lot of people still just overlook it. They're like, they still have this, like I've talked about it the past couple of weeks, like they just have this like fundamental misunderstanding on what like K-pop and Asian music is. They just think it's this one like one-dimensional thing, like where everything's the same, like a lot of genres are in the US, which isn't a huge problem. It's just like it's so experimental and diverse that like you don't like hearing one song, you haven't heard everything, not even close.
You haven't touched the surface, basically.
You have no
just
idea.
By hearing one.
And I really love what they're doing, because they're showing like there's all these artists who, you know, they're artists. They experiment with their different sounds, and they have their own identity, and they don't just like blend into the background kind of thing, you know? So
yeah, definitely. That's the one thing you have to appreciate them. Like, I know, obviously, not even among K-pop fans, like hip hop or this style of hip hop that they're sort of famous for, or the style of music that they've sort of promote or gravitate towards, might not necessarily be everyone's cup of tea. But you do have to give them credit for being willing to put themselves out there in this sort of way, and just be willing to market like something that might not necessarily be popular in America. I mean, it's just only like the only appeal would probably be to like underground like hip hop fans, in which it's still a niche upon its own, and like Asian and Asian American underground hip hop is like even more of a niche. So just, it's so cool that they've been able to bring this into the mainstream. I mean, obviously, and they're gonna work with Jackson on music apparently. Like Jackson, it's cool to see the sort of interaction that they made. Like Ratman, he's a really big fan of like 88Rising music. Like he gave him a shout out on Instagram and everything. Like it's something that like K-pop is noticing too. Like they're noticing this model and seeing how much it works. So it's something that's going to eventually like sort of influence. They're going to influence each other ultimately, just to like sort of further their success in America. So it's a really cool thing to see. And I don't be surprised if we get a K-pop group one day from, or like a K-pop style group one day from 88Rising. It would not be surprising if they
honestly
end up doing that, something like that.
This isn't just me saying this as a girl group stan, but I would love to see them do like their take on like a girl group, like an R&B girl group or a hip hop sort of
like
style,
G
like
Idol or
something like that. Like, it'd be so interesting.
I think that would stand out the most, honestly, because I feel like I don't really want them to do a boy group because I feel like
that's too hard enough.
Yeah, it's too hard to stand out, and I think also because they gravitate towards more of a hip hop group. So I feel like it'd be more of a unique thing if they went for like a girl group with like sort of a style that we haven't really seen yet from people. So yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I totally. I don't know exactly how extensive their resources are when it comes to like production studios and like on staff producers. But I mean, they've got like such a good like pick of like producers and everything. I mean, like Rich Brian does his own production, Joji does his own production. Like there's a lot of people that they can turn to and that they're like they have associations with that they can help produce if they ever decide to like jump in, and that's probably
I feel like it could even be an American girl group, like, and it would
definitely
be really, really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see them sort of jump into that because that's probably the easiest way to promote a girl group in America, honestly. If they're based here and not in Korea, because again, we've seen how hard it is to get groups like, I don't know, just like Wonder Girls or Girls' Generation.
Just get them over here,
Yeah. So, Nate, you really haven't said much anything.
I have literally nothing to say on this topic because I have no idea who any of those people are, and I've never listened to any of their music.
You need
but
to.
It sounds like the company is doing a good thing, and I hope they keep doing it.
Listen to Nikki, at least. Nikki is so worth listening to. She's incredible. Like, her voice is just amazing, and you definitely appreciate it as a fan of just like R&B, like female hip hop or like female vocals. So
yeah, I mean, like I've heard songs from like releases and stuff, but it's just not something I go out of my way to listen to. So I'm not really familiar.
So yeah, I mean, just it's not necessarily something that's strictly restricted to Korean music, but I do feel like they deserve all the recognition nonetheless. So yeah, definitely check out the 88Rising. I think they're still on tour if you wanted to go check them out. I think Keith Ape just recently released an album. Joji is going to release his his first full length album called Ballads 1. So there's a lot of music on the horizon if you're very interested in listening or just getting into the music coming out of this label. And I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope that they continue to do all this awesome music because they're really doing a lot for Asian Americans in the United States. So it's really cool to see this.
Yep. Well, I guess that's it pretty much.
Yep.
So thanks for listening this week. I guess subscribe if you liked what you heard. Comment
check out our Mucho Lit Discord.
Yes, Discord's Mucho Lit. Check out our other videos, all that kind of stuff. Comment your responses to stuff. We love to hear from you. So yeah.
Twitter contest thing.
Yep, contest is still open. Please. I want to send this to people. So please let me send this to you. And nothing. I don't think there's anything else on the docket except possibly in November I might be going to HallYuCon, assuming there's actually something going through with that. We'll have to see.
Go see Luna.
Yeah, if it's true and everything, I will go down there. But that's just a tentative sort of scheduling plan for now. And I know Nate, you're going to Day 6 the same weekend, so it's going to be a busy. Yeah, we don't have much until November. Unfortunately,
might have to skip an episode that weekend or something.
Yeah, basically, we'll have to see. But
or record it super early.
Yeah. But in general, I just want to say thank you to everyone that listens to us. I don't think we say thank you enough, honestly, just because we have a small community, but I genuinely do love you guys, especially our Discord homies, because a lot of that, like, it's really fun talking. I underestimated, like, we were even hesitant to even open a Discord at one point because we didn't think
we're like, would anybody even join? Like,
yeah. Discord's like all we talk in nowadays, and it's really cool to just see how our sort of small small communities started to form, and if you want, and definitely like we keep saying that as a joke that Discord is mucho lit, but like if you really want to like sort of engage with us and engage with the awesome people that we've sort of gotten to know through this YouTube channel, definitely join Discord's the place to be. So that's our humble plea.
Stay throbbingly irregular.
Stay mucho lit.
That sounds like you need to go to the doctor.
We mentioned Discord, so we have to end on stay mucho lit, ladies and gentlemen.
Throbbingly mucho lit.
Bye bye.
Her voice can literally like just I don't know, like it's one of my favorite voices in the entire industry. I love her voice so much.
Yeah, 100%.
And if it's a song really well, I like the choreo. The only downside is the rap part. It's like it's too intense for the song.